to entertainers while they play. We saw a lot of that with Gabby over the Masters Tour, and I think these players win a lot of friends through their various antics.
I wouldn't be too sure that Monsanto lives further away.
Oh, okay.
He still does, I'm sure, but like the top end of Brazil and the bottom end of Argentina is just as far away as the top end of Brazil and the bottom end of Canada in Montreal. So
this is why I'm only hired sort of as a temporary Americas person, right?
Yeah, South America is huge, and Brazil is near the top, and Argentina is near the bottom. So
sorry, I now learned something.
Yeah, but
should have known. Fled.
I don't know
getting a minion into play
areas
first.
that they live in, but it's possible, right?
It is possible that I'm wrong.
Warriors of the frozen wastes, rise up!
There we go.
Okay, so he is cosplaying as Nalguidan because he's just wearing the glasses.
Yeah,
no hat.
I was thinking that might be the point here. Yeah, Nalguidan a bit more chilled this season, I think. Seems to be a player over, like, for a longest time now who has been at the top end of Hearthstone, and we used to mention that when he really got close to the big ones was when things went wrong for him. And I'm not sure that's changed that much in the last 2 or 3 years. At least not enough.
No. Hasn't really.
His day will come. Oh... he's got such a cluttery hand. It's all nice cards, but one at a time is not how you beat Warlocks. And
nope.
No damage is also not how you beat Warlocks.
But he still doesn't draw many cards, so he still has a chance for Encanter's Flow to be picked up and generating a lot of value. Blood can't ignore these minions forever, because the damage will start to add up a tiny bit.
Yep.
And I say a tiny bit. All right, it's Shadow Council. Let's rock and roll. You don't need any of these cards.
Yeah, why bring these cards to your deck? Mage does it. Counter Lunacy with your own better Lunacy. For 1 mana. Oh, he's tempted. He's so tempted. One thing you can do, like joking aside, the other 2 cards are pretty trash here. Is save the Shadow Council for 3 or 4 turns. You don't have to just go straight in with it. You save it until your hand is the cards that don't do much, and then have a go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's amused himself, which is always a good way of staying calm in these situations. This will be an Ogremancer. Kind of why it's here.
Yep, not much power on board. Not a great way for Nalguidan to answer it. He could just play a minion himself, right? I mean, his hand is already pretty much fully minions. He could also double trade into Pexus Blast, just leaving a 2/2. But honestly, I'd kind of like to see just like him playing a minion and then kind of seeing where the game goes from that point.
Downside of that is his devolving missiles gets worse. I mean, when you started talking there, that wasn't in his hand. He drew it as you were talking, but that card would get worse if Fled was to add to this board. But yeah, I think you're right. Just play a minion and create some board tension. Something, again, watching that replay back yesterday that Ogremancer did, it draws this burn. Now, that doesn't seem that big a deal, but the Mage doesn't have infinite cards like the Priest does. It kind of has to make its burn count. So that's 5 burn now that never goes face, ever again in this game.
Yep, which is like a net 5 healing, which is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Mage can only do, forgetting primes and minion damage, it can probably only do 40 or 50 damage over the course of a game, even if it does well with its orbs and so on. Again, you can add a bit to that because of spell damage and such like, but taking 5 away when the Warlock has a lot of healing in the deck as well is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yep, Fled doesn't know what any of these cards do. I don't know what any of these cards do. Does anyone know what any of these cards do?
Well, he's turning a bunch of useless cards into pressure, and I talked a little bit yesterday about how I talked to Fled about how he wins the mage matchup, and I was only half joking about Shadow Council because as soon as he plays the minions that are put in the deck for mage specifically, like he just wants to be ahead of the board and put just fat stats in the way. But I mean, he hits 3 imprisoned minions. A Ticketus, which he doesn't really want to play unless it's corrupted, of course. And a minion that's too expensive for him to play in the next coming turns. So he's at a little bit of an impasse here, and it's may not get much better that quickly.
The Dreadlord's an interesting one because if he does manage to get it down, the 8-drop, obviously, when it dies, it comes back as a 5/5 lifesteal minion. But that's really slow. He's got to play it down, then it's got to actually die, and then it's got to attack again, and that's only for 5 health gain. So probably not ideal, but just worth knowing what that card does, in case you've never seen it, because there is a chance you can heal with it later in the game. All this imprisoned nonsense. And the worst thing with the imprisoned stuff, apart from the obvious, which is that it's really slow, is your opponent knows it's coming. You've revealed half of your hand to Nalguidan for him to deal with in 2 turns' time as he pleases.
All in due time.
Man, this is just so expensive of a hand. I feel like cashing in on mask value is decent here. He will then also corrupt the Fireworks Elemental. Gets to push 14 damage this turn, which isn't always the case.
Yep. Fled played around those Hysterias so well. Hide. Can't be a Hysteria then. But yeah, do that damage you can. You always have to think about it a little bit as the mage in this matchup because of all the healing. But you've got to start somewhere, so take the max.
We're being attacked!
Another minion that is just going to eat damage.
Definitely don't want a Fireworks Elemental. Oh no, you can Fireworks Elemental to go Rogue Grunt because it's a frenzy effect. It's not a like just damage taken.
Yeah, it's just not that good. Like you can just ping it if you really want to. Fled's positioning worth noting. On point. I think combustion positioning's become muscle memory for most people now, but you know, it's still nice to see it done.
Mm-hmm. Just spread out the imprisoned minions.
He's in so much trouble here, though.
Well, at least he gets to corrupt the Ticketus and put something in the way, but I mean, he has to just hope that there's no burn. If that's the case, right?
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, it's such rubbish. He's making the close your eyes and hope play. I don't know if I could make this play, you know, if I couldn't see the hands. It's definitely the right play, but it's very, very easy to sit here and say it. But when you're actually at the table, that's a really good play.
Yeah. And it could work out, right? It's got taunt, so can't get this damage through, but Nalguidan has some draw, has ways to try and find tools to get through. He could also just Hysteria to try and clean up everything on the board.
I am only more deadly.
Fled was, yeah, he doesn't know how to react. He's like, I wanted to react one way or the other, but that was a very middle of the road result.
Yeah. Like some of his stuff got cleared off. One of Nalguidan's things got cleared off. Like it was just kind of, yeah, it was just boom, boom. And then, all right, now we're kind of still back to square one.
He seems almost sad that nothing crazy happened there that he could react to. It's like, yeah, okay, well, sure.
Yeah.
Works against me.
I'll entertain you all later with something else. I'm sure what he's upset about here, like he didn't die this turn, which seemed like favourite going at the start of the turn. He's got two-turn lethal of his own setup here as well. Just with the minion power.
Yeah, that's if he ships everything to face, which...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the imprisoned Valfing has Rush, so... He's just going to double Ticketus. Ticketus this turn, Ticketus next turn, then just hope again that there's no... not a significant amount of burn.
But
also, that Ticketus is a 10-10.
Yeah, it's huge. He wasn't dead last turn, so he shouldn't be dead this turn in a lot of worlds. Obviously, your opponent will draw more cards this turn, but... No. He hasn't got any card draw, though. Just that one intellect, which is a horrible card when you have to play it for 3 mana.
Yeah. Looked like he was putting that stereo at a 1-1.
What did that Murloc ever do to you, Nalguidan?
So this will kill on 2 minutes on average, 3 if he gets lucky and kills a 1-1 in between. Just trying, yep, there we go. And now 6-7, yep, that was the nearly ideal outcome. Just left a little more health on the board, but quite possibly the best outcome.
Now he's got to pace his damage because he's going to want spell damage with the remaining burn. Mask costing 7 is not what you want that to cost either. He's burned both flows, so he's never going to have to pay anything other than the full price. No healing here though for Fled.
Haven't heard of me? You will.
He's got to hope that there's no lethal found, but there's a lot of spell damage on the board next turn because the Phoenix undormants.
Rudor, brain freeze. Oh, and he fell, didn't burn the Apexis Blast.
Oh, he had lethal coming in.
Yeah, Nalguidan rubbing his hands together. He knows that that's a tough matchup. And even without Incanter's Flow, right? He's still forced Fled into this awkward position where he just kind of ran out of gas and then Shadow Counseled, which usually it's going to hit you some big demons that he controls state of the board with, but he hit like all the imprisoned demons.
Yeah.
And so he'd lost board presence for just a turn, right? And that was enough for Nalguidan to get 14 damage in with the minion he had on board, plus a full 7 mana mass turn, which you don't often have the luxury of being able to do in that matchup, right? With all 10 damage going to face. And then just wasn't picking up healing. And double Ticketus only burned, only discarded a little bit of burn from Nalguidan. He still held on to the majority of it. And that's all he needed at the end of the day, was that last Apexis Blast plus the spell damage to get the job done. So kind of snuck that one out. But a win is a win, no matter which way you look at it. And now we get to go to the greedier teched decks. I'm gonna assume that we're gonna see the tertiary for Fled, which adds the Cult Neophytes, the Gold Road Grunts, and Alexstrasza. And then the secondary for Nalguidan, which adds Rigged Fair Game, the second Flame Strike, and Cthulhu. It's possible that he stays on primary. You don't have to tell your opponent that you're one way or the other.
You could actually play any one of those 3 decks, Nalguidan. His tertiary with the double Ogremancer and an Ice Barrier might just buy him a bit of time to get the damage. I don't think he'll go that way. Oh, he loses double Apexis. No, you can't take that. Yeah, so it's...
No, you can't do that way.
My bad. Yeah. Okay. But it depends whether he sees the Lunacy or the Cthulhu as better. The Cthulhu obviously is very risky, but like you said, he can draw through his deck much quicker than the Priest. So curious to see what he does here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of
Fled's showing what he was made of there that last game, playing that 5/7 when he was dead to basically a couple of burn spells, and that gave him the chance to even be in the position where Nalguidan had to top deck.
Yeah, it was quite impressive. But let's get into it. I'm gonna double check here. Yep, I see 2 gold roll grunts for Fled, so he did as expected, and I do see Cthulhu the Shattered for Nalguidan in the deck tracker.
Okay.
So he also went as expected.
1, 2, 3. That's how curves work, though, for Fled. Just stuff early on.
Stuff! Big ol' stuff! It's actually small stuff, but it's a big deal.
Big deal, small stuff. Sounds like a really bad movie, TJ. Let's get writing.
Yes. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Something lights, big city. Small lights, big stuff city. There we go.
Beautiful title.
I'm just gifted, I think. The only question here is if Fled wants to hold the near fight, but it challenges the board as well as slowing your opponent down. Not a lot to think about, especially when you built the deck yourself and you know which turn you want to play it on.
I guess just take the Ruined Orb. There's some arguments for Imprisoned Observer here. There's some small, very small arguments for just jam the Trick Totem and hit face.
That card just... hit whose face? It'll hit your face.
Nah, sometimes you just gotta trust in the Trick Totem. Trick Totem can get some work done, I tell you.
Okay, I trust you. I'm going to trust you. That's all I've got. Trick Totem. I don't know. If you're desperate, I get it. But I don't think we're desperate. He's going to play it, isn't he? And prove me to be a liar once again.
He's probably just going to double Ruined Orb here just to make sure that these minions get swept up on the following turn. Another one Portal's pretty good. Oh, nope, he's going to Trick Totem, you're right. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, trust in the Trick Totem. Oh, Imp Swarm. Free 3/2.
Well, it cost him 2 mana for that 3/2, but sure. Let's go with that. He gets to re-roll a card that probably kills the 3/2 next turn. No, I have to concede. It's tricked Fled into having to trade.
Yep. At least he gets 2 armor.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. You're never going to get more than 2. The mage can choose to give you less, so okay. I feel like this just isn't a good card. Fun though it is to see it in the deck.
All in due time.
Oh, good, and not messing around with the Ruined Orbs.
Primordial Study is just the most flexible. Yeah, I don't think you're really deep freezing it. Spending 8 mana for a card in this matchup.
It's extra damage as well.
Oh, it cast a secret! Wait, what did it cast?
Don't know, it's a secret.
Mirror Entity!
Armor!
Okay.
Lightly used armor! Armor! Lightly used armor! I know it's so...
A reminder, if Fled wins this, all 3 regions will have different classes win in this specialist week. But he's not looking like winning at the moment. He's struggling quite a lot.
That's kind of insane, to be honest.
Right, so Nalguidan's got to pick apart this board, and he has not really got the means to do that in one turn, which is really annoying for him. It's not menacing him, it's just stopping him getting damage through that he probably needs to get some minion damage through over the course of this game, the way that Fled's built the deck.
Yeah, he could just like throw out the Eye of Cthulhu and then brain freeze whatever's left that has the most health. Oh, that works out well.
I think that might be the risky
and then
doing it.
You let the Trick Totem deal with the 3/2 and you push face.
Sure. I'm not enjoying being wrong on every single turn here. Okay. That was Avenge. Fled has my opinion of Trick Totem, that it shouldn't be allowed. He knows that this is almost... You just know in your heart of hearts this is noble sacrifice, don't you? If you're the other side. Even though it's not. Like, your brain just tells you that it's noble sacrifice every time.
Yep.
This is where you've got to keep an objective point of view, even if you're naturally sort of pessimistic about things. And he's going to. That's good. Hysteria is now a clear. Unless it's not.
Elements I like. Totems I love.
Totem Carver. I think it's pretty big.
Yeah, this 8 damage he's going to take next turn is a lot in the scheme of this game.
Yeah. He seems to already think that he has essentially lost the game.
There were ordering issues that last turn, I feel. I can't tell you what they were exactly reconstructing the turn, but getting the Netherwind to trigger after you play a Hysteria and then finding out that it's Avenge and stuff. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't a better order, but it felt like that was slightly wobbly. Or maybe you just had to trust that it wasn't those cards.
Yeah.
Like, he has no read on the Paladin one, that's the problem. Because of the amazing Trick Totem. Never doubted it.
It was actually pretty sick, you know, it gave just a lot of disruption, and disruption that's still happening. And honestly, some value too, right?
It did, I've got to admit, a tremendous job. You were right, TJ, and I was wrong. I'm not subtle, I can admit things.
Yeah, glad we're being real with each other.
Taking too much minion damage though. And he's going to get a mask in the face as well.
Yep.
Ooh, apparently he's not.
He is. He can still.
Didn't want to mask my opponent's face anyway. Okay, well, he's got some secrets instead.
I wonder why he didn't want to just take the... It looks like he's just setting up for a bigger mask potentially next turn with higher amounts of spell damage, but there could be minions that are thrown in the way. Blood just looking incredibly upset. He's just going to keep playing out minions because he just needs to get Jiraxis online to be able to have to do anything, but then he's just going to be at such a low card count that maybe Jiraxis won't even be enough.
Yeah, this isn't Priest. He isn't going to get the time to make 6/6s every turn for many turns. Like, against Priest, the fact it goes on for 15 more turns, that's 15 6/6s. That's a lot of 6/6s. Against Mage, you've got
Certainly
3
is.
turns or something. That's not many 6/6s. 3 is less than 15. Grandmasters deck with this 4-1's going to connect to face for the 3rd time, I think now.
Yeah, it's certainly getting some work done. And
it survived
now
mortal coil attempts. It survived all sorts of assassination attempts. It's just still there.
Can he even like afford to Jiraxis this turn? He's leaving a plus imprisoned Phoenix up. Like, oh jeez.
He would be on 21, taking 8. That leaves him with what, 13 space.
Oh jeez. Oh, it hurts.
Ow! He didn't heal his own face. He's had to. Oh. Ah. Well, looks like he's going to get this done now. Get some spell damage, draw some cards. This is how this deck's supposed to work. We haven't seen much of it because of all the disruption that Fled has.
Refreshing spring water. Up, Mauve Cthulhu. Perfect. And this is 6, 7 plus 7 is 14 damage. Can he pick up lethal?
He can ping as well, right?
Well, that's including the ping.
So the spell damage as well, then? Oh no, he can't attack with the minion he just played. That's not how the rules work. I remember now.
Rise up! What's against me?
Yeah. Ah, now the fair game. Just to make sure he wins the game in style next turn.
Oh, and that's a concede from Fled. See, much different than what happened in the same exact matchup from yesterday, right? With Monsanto versus Fled, because Nalguidan had a little bit better teched deck for it, and just like more minion pressure. I don't know. It just felt like he was making it a lot more awkward for Fled in the early game. Fled also had some bad beats, right? Trick Totem cast only helpful things and not really any hurtful things, which isn't always the case. You can see the big smile from Nalguidan there as he gets another secret right. But it just felt like he could never get the ball rolling and never pressure as much as he was able to against Monsanto in the same matchup. So, kudos to Flood, though. He brought an interesting variation of Warlock, another Warlock player. He made it to the top 4, got some good points, but at the end of the day, this match belonged to Nalguidan, and now we have an all-Argentinian final.
Yep, and it's going to be a similar matchup again, except with the not-so-good